Welcome to my channel. Do you know how much we can learn from simple daily routines? Today I will share with you my father's daily routine. It may look simple, but each step hides a lesson. If you watch carefully, you will not only learn English words and sentences, you will also learn discipline, respect, and balance in life. Stay with me till the end, because one small detail in his day might surprise you, and it might change the way you look at your own routine. My father's daily routine is not only about what he does, but also about how he does it. Every action is calm, careful, and full of purpose. He never runs, but he is never late. He never wastes time, but he never looks in a hurry. That is something I admire the most. His day feels like a story, where each part is connected to the next one and nothing is random. Watching him makes me think that real discipline is not about force, but about quiet choices repeated every single day. When I was young, I never thought about his routine. It looked too simple. Wake up, eat, work, rest, sleep. But as I grew older, I began to see that every step had a hidden meaning. For example, when he wakes up before sunrise, he does not just wake his body, he wakes his mind. When he sits with us for breakfast, he does not just eat, he gives us his attention. When he goes to work, he does not just earn money, he shows us responsibility. These small actions looked ordinary, but in truth, they were powerful lessons. That is why I chose to share his daily routine with you today. You will learn English, yes, but you will also learn how small, repeated actions can build a strong life. You will see how discipline can be soft, and how respect can be shown without words. So stay with me, step by step, chapter by chapter, and you will discover that my father's daily routine is not only his routine, it can become your guide too. Chapter 1. Morning Discipline. My father wakes up very early. He wakes up before the sun rises. The world is still quiet, the air is fresh, and the streets are empty. While most people are still sleeping, he opens his eyes and begins his day. I always wonder why he wakes up so early. When I asked him, he smiled and said, "The morning decides the whole day." Those words stayed with me. He believes that if you begin the day with peace, energy, and discipline, the whole day will follow the same path. When my father wakes up, the first thing he does is sit quietly on his bed. He does not rush. He does not pick up a phone or look for noise. He just sits and breathes deeply. Sometimes I see his face in that moment. It looks calm, almost shining like the early morning light. This is the first lesson I learned. The morning is not for hurry, it is for peace. Just a few minutes of silence can make the whole day feel lighter. After sitting quietly, my father washes his face. He goes to the bathroom, splashes cold water, and feels awake. This simple act is also a small lesson. Washing is not just for cleaning the face, it is also for waking the mind. When you feel fresh, your thoughts become clear. He often tells me, when you clean your body, your mind also feels clean. For English learners, this is also true. When you start the morning with clear thoughts, you are ready to learn new words and sentences. Then he brushes his teeth. He does it slowly, not in a hurry. While brushing, he sometimes hums softly. I never asked what he hums. Maybe it is a prayer, maybe it's just a habit. But I always feel that even in brushing, he finds a small kind of joy. This is another lesson. Even the smallest routine, if done with peace, can bring comfort. And for English learners, this is like repeating small words every day. I wake up. I wash my face. I brush my teeth. These small sentences may look simple, but if you repeat them daily, they will stay in your memory and grow strong. After brushing, my father stretches his arms and legs. He believes the body should be prepared for the day. Sometimes he bends forward. Sometimes he turns his neck slowly. Sometimes he just raises his hands to the sky. It is not a big exercise, but it is a gentle way of telling the body, wake up, it is time to move. This is a beautiful moment. The house is still silent. The sun is just beginning to rise, and my father's slow movements look like a quiet dance with the morning. It always gives me peace to watch him. Then comes one of my favorite pictures. My father sitting quietly with a cup of tea. He holds it slowly, takes small sips, and looks outside the window. Sometimes he watches the sky. Sometimes he watches the trees. Sometimes he just watches nothing. His eyes look calm, and his lips sometimes smile without a reason. This picture is always in my heart. It is not just tea. It is a ritual of peace. He teaches me that the first drink of the day should not be rushed. It should be enjoyed. It is not about the tea. It is about the moment. In those quiet minutes, he often thinks about his plans for the day. What work needs to be done, what tasks are important, who he needs to meet. But he never looks worried. He thinks in order, step by step, calmly. He says, if the morning is clear, the day will be clear. This is why he wakes up before sunrise, because it gives him space to think, to breathe, and to prepare. Now, let me connect this to English learning. Many learners ask, what is the best time to study English? My father's routine gives the answer, the morning. In the morning, the mind is fresh, the world is quiet, and you have energy. If you read a small passage in the morning, it stays longer in your memory. If you practice speaking in the morning, your confidence grows. Just like my father takes a sip of tea and feels calm, you can take a sip of English practice and feel prepared. Think about it. If you wake up early and say even 10 sentences like, I wake up, I wash my face, I brush my teeth, I stretch my body, I drink my tea, you are already practicing English while following your routine. Simple, natural, and powerful. This is why I call my father's mornings discipline. It is not about strict rules. It is not about pressure. It is about repeating small, peaceful actions every day until they become part of who you are. And when discipline becomes part of you, success follows naturally. The emotional peak of his morning is always that picture of him with tea, his calm face, and the silent world around him. That moment is like a symbol of balance, body, mind, and soul together. Watching him, I realized that success in life and success in learning English come from the same place: early rising, peaceful actions, and steady discipline. So when I think about my father's mornings, I don't just see his actions. I see a philosophy. Wake up early. Start with peace. Clean your body. Wake your mind. Stretch your body. Drink slowly. Think calmly. Prepare for the day. These steps may look small, but they can shape your life. And if you connect them with English sentences, you will not only live better, you'll also speak better. That is why my father's morning discipline is the first and most powerful chapter of his daily routine. It shows us that life is built in the morning, and the morning is built with discipline. Chapter 2 breakfast and family time after his quiet morning and tea, my father moves to the next part of his day, breakfast. Breakfast in our house is simple. There is usually bread, eggs, and tea. Sometimes there are fresh fruits, sometimes a little butter or jam. Nothing fancy, nothing expensive, but always healthy and filling. My father believes that the first meal of the day is very important. He says, food gives you energy, and energy gives you strength to do your work. But more than the food, he believes that eating together gives us something even greater, love and connection. No matter how busy he is, my father always sits with the family for breakfast. Even if he has an important meeting or heavy work waiting, he does not skip this time. He says, work will always wait. Family time will not. That is why he never eats alone in the morning. He calls us to the table, waits until everyone is seated, and only then begins to eat. This is a lesson in itself, respect for family. He teaches us that sitting together makes the food taste better and the day feel stronger. At the table, he uses simple and polite words. He might say, "Pass me the bread, please," or "Would you like some tea?" He always says thank you when someone gives him something. These small words build respect. As children, we learned quickly that breakfast was not only for eating, it was for practicing kindness. In English, these words are also powerful. Learners can practice phrases like, "Please pass the salt." "Can I have some bread?" "Would you like some tea?" Simple sentences, but they create polite and natural conversations. My favorite moment is when my father smiles at us during breakfast. His smile is gentle, but makes the whole room brighter. Sometimes he asks us questions. "How did you sleep? Do you have schoolwork today? Are you feeling ready for the day?" His voice is soft, but his questions show his care. That is the emotional spike of this chapter, when everyone feels loved, not because of the food, but because of the attention he gives us. It is in that moment we realize that family is more than people living in the same house. Family is sharing time, sharing food, and sharing feelings. Even when we are quiet, he does not let the silence feel heavy. He might tell a small story from his own childhood. He might share a memory of his father or mother. Sometimes he tells us about a mistake he made when he was young and what he learned from it. These stories are short, but they stay in our hearts. Through breakfast, he not only feeds our bodies, but also feeds our minds with lessons and wisdom. Another important lesson from breakfast is balance. My father does not eat too much or too little. He eats just enough. He says, your stomach should be full, but your body should still feel light. He teaches us that food is not only for taste, it is for health. When you eat with balance, your day feels balanced too. This lesson connects with English learning as well. Just like eating, learning should not be too heavy at once. It should be small, regular, and balanced. 10 minutes of English practice in the morning is more powerful than 2 hours once a week. Now let us connect breakfast with English practice more directly. When you sit at the table, you can practice family words: mother, father, brother, sister. You can practice food words: bread, egg, tea, fruit. You can practice action words: eat, drink, sit, share. And you can practice polite expressions: please give me some tea. Thank you for the bread. Would you like an egg? Every breakfast becomes an English lesson if you choose the words. One top moment in my father's breakfast routine is when he finishes eating and looks around the table with quiet satisfaction. He does not need to say much. His eyes tell us this is the strength we need. This is the real start of the day. That moment connects us as a family and reminds me that words of love are not always spoken loudly. They are sometimes hidden in actions, smiles, and shared meals. For English learners, I encourage you to imagine your own breakfast table. Who sits with you? What do you eat? Can you say it in English? I eat bread. I drink tea. I sit with my family. These are simple sentences, but they are real. They describe your life, and that makes them powerful. When English is connected to real life, it becomes easier to remember and easier to use. So breakfast in my father's daily routine is not just a meal. It is a meeting, a lesson, and a gift. It teaches us that food gives us energy, but family gives us strength. It shows us that even a simple table with bread and eggs can become a place of love, respect, and learning. And it connects directly with English practice because every word you use at the table can become a step in your journey of learning. When I look back at these mornings, the picture is always the same: bread, eggs, tea, polite words, gentle smiles, soft laughter, and a feeling of safety. That picture is as important to me as any school lesson. It taught me that family time is never wasted time. It taught me that food is not only for the body, but also for the heart. And most importantly, it taught me that even the simplest moments, if shared with love, can become unforgettable memories. That is why breakfast and family time is the second chapter in my father's daily routine. It is the part of the day where energy meets love, and where simple food becomes the strength of life. Chapter 3: Work and Responsibility. After breakfast, my father gets ready for work. He never wastes time after the meal. He knows exactly when he must leave, and he always prepares calmly. He takes his bag, checks his papers, and makes sure everything is in order. One thing I have noticed since childhood is that my father is never late. Not once. Whether the weather is sunny, rainy, or cold, he leaves at the same time every day. He believes that time is a promise, and when you respect time, people will respect you. When my father walks out of the house, he always says goodbye politely. He might say, "I'm leaving now. Take care." Sometimes he adds a smile or a small joke. That goodbye feels simple, but it is full of warmth. It reminds us that even when he goes out for work, we are still connected. For English learners, these are good practice words. I'm leaving now. See you later. Take care. They are small sentences, but they show manners and care. My father usually travels by bus, but sometimes he walks part of the way. He says walking in the morning gives him energy. He looks at the people, the shops, and the streets. He notices details that most of us ignore. If the bus is late, he does not get angry. He waits patiently because he believes that anger does not make the bus come faster. This is another hidden lesson. Patience is part of responsibility. At his workplace, my father is known for one thing: honesty. He does his job with focus, with care, and with truth. He does not take shortcuts. He does not avoid hard work. He always says, if you do a job, do it well. Even when the work is heavy, he does it with pride. I remember once he told me, "It is better to be tired from honest work than to be tired from doing nothing." those words are still alive in me. The emotional spike in this chapter is the picture of my father working with pride. His face shines not because the job is easy, but because he knows he is giving his best. He never complains about the difficulty. He never says, "Why me?" Instead, he says, "I will do it." That quiet pride makes him strong, and it makes us respect him more. For English learners, work vocabulary is very useful. You can practice sentences like, I go to work, I travel by bus, I meet people, I do my job, I speak with others. These simple sentences are connected to daily life, and they help you describe what you or your family members do. When you practice them, you bring English into your real routine. Another lesson from my father's work life is focus. He does not allow distractions when he is working. He does one task at a time and completes it before starting another. He often tells me, if you give half your heart to one thing and half to another, both will break. This lesson is also true for English learning. If you try to learn many things at once, you may feel lost. But if you focus on one part, like speaking or reading, you will grow stronger step by step. My father also respects his coworkers. He greets them politely, listens when they speak, and helps when he can. He believes that respect at work is as important as respect at home. He often says, people may forget what you said, but they will never forget how you treated them. This reminds me that responsibility is not only about doing tasks. It is also about how you behave with people. The top moment of this chapter is when I connect his work routine with English learning. Just as my father repeats his job daily, learners must repeat English daily. He does not work only when he feels like it. He works every day because it is his responsibility. In the same way, you should not practice English only when you feel inspired. You should practice daily, even for a short time. That daily effort will build your skills, just as daily work builds his career. When my father finishes his workday, he looks tired but peaceful. His clothes may have dust, his hands may be rough, but his eyes are calm. Why? Because he knows he did his duty honestly. He did not waste time. He did not escape from responsibility. He gave his best, and that is enough for him. That is why when he comes home, we welcome him with respect. His hard work is not just for himself. It is for all of us. So this chapter of his daily routine teaches us 3 big lessons. Respect time, work with honesty, and repeat your duty daily. These 3 lessons are also keys for English learners. Respect your learning time, practice with honesty, and repeat daily. If you follow this, you will not only learn English, you will succeed in life as well. That is why I call this part of his day work and responsibility. It is not only about earning money. It is about building character. It is about showing that hard work, done with honesty, becomes a source of pride and respect. And just like my father, if you treat your English practice as a responsibility, one day you will look back with the same pride in your own growth. Chapter 4. Rest and balance. When my father comes back home after work, he looks tired but calm. His steps are slower, and his shoulders show the weight of the day. Yet, there is no anger or stress in his face. He quietly places his bag down, washes his hands, and sits for a while. This is his time of rest. He believes that after hours of hard work, the body and mind must pause. Without rest, he says, the body becomes weak and the mind becomes heavy. Balance is important, and rest is the bridge between work and life. I often see him sit in his favorite chair. It is simple, not soft or special, but it holds his peace. He leans back, closes his eyes, and breathes slowly. His face looks relaxed, almost like a child's. That picture is unforgettable for me. The quiet man, the silent room, the evening light, and his calm breathing. It is the emotional peak of this chapter. In that moment, I understand that rest is not laziness. Rest is strength. Rest is the gift that prepares him for tomorrow. Sometimes he takes a short nap, just 15 or 20 minutes. He does not sleep deeply, but enough to refresh his mind. When he wakes up, he looks lighter, like the tiredness has left his body. Other times, he simply sits with his eyes closed. No words, no movement, only silence. He always says, silence also rests the soul. Watching him makes me realize how powerful a small break can be. For English learners, this lesson is very important. Many people think they must study for hours without stopping. But the truth is, without rest, the brain cannot remember well. Just as my father rests his body after work, your mind also needs breaks while learning English. If you study for 30 minutes, then rest for 5 minutes, your learning becomes stronger. Rest is not wasting time. It is making your effort more powerful. Think about simple English sentences you can use for rest. I sit in the chair. I close my eyes. I take a nap. I sleep for a while. I relax at home. These are easy sentences, but they describe real life. When you practice them, you not only learn English, you also describe balance in daily living. Sometimes after resting, my father listens to soft music or reads a small page from a book. He does not read for hours, just a few lines. He says, rest does not mean doing nothing. Rest means doing something gentle. This also connects with English. When you're tired of grammar or reading, you can still rest with English in a soft way. You can listen to a slow English song, or watch a short video, or read a small story. This is also rest, but in a lighter form. I remember one day when I asked him, "Father, why don't you keep working after coming home? You can do more." He looked at me and said, "If I burn all my energy today, what will I give tomorrow? Rest is not for today, it is for tomorrow." These words became a lesson I will never forget. Rest is not laziness, it is preparation. Without it, even the strongest man will fall. This is the top moment of this chapter, realizing that rest is a tool for growth. My father works every day, but he also rests every day. He balances effort and peace, action and silence. That is why he can continue with the same strength day after day. And that is why English learners also need to balance practice with rest. If you keep pushing without breaks, you may feel bored, tired, or hopeless. But if you pause, breathe, and then continue, you will stay fresh and motivated. Another small detail I love is how my father looks after resting. His face becomes brighter, his voice becomes softer, and his eyes look clearer. It is as if the short silence washes away the dust of the day. That transformation is beautiful to see. It teaches me that even a few minutes of rest can change the way a person feels, speaks, and behaves. So in this chapter, my father shows us 3 things. First, the body needs rest after work. Second, The mind needs silence after stress. Third, tomorrow depends on how well you recover today. If you forget to rest, you lose strength. If you balance work and rest, you grow stronger every day. For English practice, you can use this wisdom too. After learning, rest. After speaking, listen quietly. After reading, close your eyes and think. These small pauses are not breaks from learning. They are part of learning. They make the words stay longer in your memory. When I see my father sitting in his chair with closed eyes, I do not see a tired man. I see a wise man. He knows that life is not a race to run without stopping. Life is a journey, and every journey needs pauses. His daily rest is a lesson in balance, a lesson in patience, and a lesson in preparing for the future. That is why this part of his routine is so important. It shows that balance is the key to strength. Without balance, even the hardest work loses meaning. With balance, every effort becomes lighter and every tomorrow becomes possible. Chapter 5: Evening Reflection and Connection. Evenings in our house are always special because that is the time my father spends with us. After his rest, he does not go back to work or hide behind newspaper. Instead, he chooses to sit with his children. Sometimes it is in the living room, sometimes outside in the small garden, and sometimes just at the dinner table. Wherever it is, the important thing is the connection. He believes that evening is not only for finishing tasks, but also for building relationships. He often says, wisdom is not only in books, it is also in conversations. When he sits with us, he does two things. Sometimes he talks, and sometimes he listens. Both are equally important. On some evenings, he begins to share stories. These are not big or complicated stories. They are simple tales from his childhood, how he played in the fields, how he walked miles to school, or how he helped his parents with work. While telling these stories, his face becomes lively, his eyes shine, and his voice carries both humor and warmth. We listen with joy because in those moments, he is not just our father. He is also our teacher, our storyteller, and our guide. The emotional spike of this chapter is always when my father tells those childhood stories. His words take us to another time. We imagine the small house he grew up in, the narrow streets, the long walks, the laughter of children playing simple games. Sometimes he tells us about mistakes he made, and we laugh. Sometimes he shares about struggles, and we feel his pain. These stories are not written in any book, but they carry lessons more powerful than school. They remind us that life teaches us in many ways, not just in classrooms. On other evenings, he does something even more powerful. He listens. He asks us questions. How was your day? Did you learn something new? What was difficult today? And then he sits quietly, giving his full attention to our answers. He does not interrupt. He does not rush. He just listens. That listening feels like love. It tells us that our words matter, our feelings matter, and our experiences matter. It teaches us that connection is built not only by speaking, but also by listening. For English learners, this part of the routine is very important. Conversation is one of the strongest ways to practice language. You can use simple sentences like, "How was your day?" "I had a good day." "I am tired." "I learned something new." "What about you?" These small questions and answers are the heart of real communication. My father did not know it, but his evening talks with us were also small English lessons in kindness, patience, and speaking clearly. The top moment of this chapter is linking conversation with English practice. Just as my father shares stories and listens to us, English learners must also practice daily conversations. It does not matter if the sentences are short. It does not matter if you make mistakes. What matters is the habit of speaking and listening every day. That habit builds confidence, just like my father's evening talks build our confidence in life. Sometimes in the evening, he also reflects on the day. He says things like, "Today was a hard day, but I learned something." Or, "I met someone kind today, and it made me happy." These reflections are not lectures. They are gentle thoughts. By sharing them, he teaches us to look at our own day with honesty. He shows us that every day has both struggles and blessings, and both are worth remembering. Evenings with my father are not noisy or filled with big events. They're simple but powerful. A short story, a gentle laugh, a few questions, a few answers. But these simple things make us feel connected. They make us feel safe. They make us believe that our family is a place where wisdom grows naturally. For learners of English, this chapter teaches an important method. Instead of only reading books or repeating grammar rules, try to bring English into your evening talks. Ask your family, "How are you?" Tell them, "I am fine." Share, "I am happy," or "I am tired." Even small conversations in English are valuable because language lives in speaking, not only in studying. What I admire most about my father is how he gives time even when he is tired. He could choose to stay silent or focus only on himself, but he does not. He believes that children learn most in the small moments at home. His evening routine proves that love. And wisdom are not about money or material things. They are about presence, listening, and sharing. When I remember these evenings, the picture in my mind is clear. My father sitting with us, his voice warm, his eyes kind. We are laughing at his stories. We are answering his questions, and we are learning without even noticing. That picture will stay with me forever. So this chapter of his daily routine teaches us another great truth. Work gives respect, rest gives balance, but conversation gives connection. And connection is what makes a family strong. Just as English grows through daily practice of speaking and listening, relationships grow through daily practice of talking and sharing. Both require time, patience, and heart. That is why I call this part of his day evening reflection and connection. It is not just about spending time, it is about creating bonds, passing wisdom, and practicing love. And just like English practice, it must be done daily with care and with joy. Chapter 6. Night routine and life lessons. The night in our house is not noisy. It is calm, gentle, and filled with peace. After spending time with us in the evening, my father moves into the last part of his day, his night routine. He believes that how you end the day is just as important as how you begin it. Just as the morning gives direction to the day, the night gives peace to the heart and preparation for tomorrow. That is why my father always takes care of his night routine with the same discipline he gives to his mornings. Every night before going to bed, my father prays. His prayer is simple, but it is filled with meaning. He thanks God for the day, for the food he ate, for the work he did, and for the family he loves. He asks for strength for tomorrow, and he prays for the health and happiness of everyone. When I see him praying, I feel something deep in my heart. His calm voice, his closed eyes, and his hands raised in gratitude teach me a lesson without words. The lesson is this: gratitude makes the heart soft, and peace begins with thankfulness. After his prayer, he often reads a little. Sometimes it is a holy book, sometimes a small story, and sometimes just a few wise sayings. He does not read for hours. He reads only for a short time, but those few minutes are powerful. He says, "One good thought before sleeping is better than many empty thoughts." When I see him reading, I understand that learning never stops, no matter how old you are. His reading is not only about gaining knowledge, it is also about feeding the soul. The emotional spike of a night routine comes when the whole house becomes quiet. After prayer and reading, my father switches off the light. The room falls into darkness, but it does not feel empty. It feels safe. The sound of the switch, the quiet of the night, and his gentle voice saying good night to us is like a blanket of peace covering the whole house. In that moment, we know the day has ended well. We know tomorrow will begin with hope. For English learners, this part of the routine is full of useful expressions. You can use simple sentences like, "I pray before sleeping." "I read a book." "I close my eyes." "I sleep early." "Good night, everyone." These short sentences are easy to practice every day, and they are part of real life. Learning English is not just about grammar. It is about connecting words to your own daily routine. If you make English sentences about your night, they will stay in your mind longer because they are linked to your real actions. The top moment of this chapter is showing how small habits create strong character. Just as small English words create big sentences. My father's night routine may look simple: pray, read, sleep, but together, these habits shape his whole personality. They make him calm, grateful, and ready for tomorrow. In the same way, small English words like I eat, go, sleep, when joined together, make strong sentences. Small steps, done daily, build great results over time. One thing I admire most is that my father never goes to bed late. He believes that sleeping early is a gift you give yourself. He says, "If you sleep late, you steal from your tomorrow." Those words stay with me even now, because when he sleeps early, he wakes early. When he wakes early, his whole day becomes productive. His discipline at night creates his discipline in the morning. It is a complete circle, and it begins with one small decision. Sleep on time. When I think about his night routine, I realize it's not just about sleeping. It is about ending the day with peace, with gratitude, and with preparation. It is about closing your eyes not with worry, but with trust. My father's night teaches me that success is not only built in the office or in the classroom. Success is also built quietly at home in the way you end your day. Sometimes, before turning off the light, he also reminds us of something good. He might say, "Be kind tomorrow," or "Work hard," or simply, "Take care." These little reminders are like seeds. They enter our minds at night and grow by morning. This is why I believe that the last words we hear before sleeping are powerful. They shape our dreams, and they shape our next day. For English learners, You can also make a small night routine in English. Before sleeping, say, "Thank you for this day," or "I will do better tomorrow." Then say, "Good night." Even these few words will make your heart peaceful and your English stronger at the same time. When the house finally falls into silence, I close my eyes and think of my father's example. His calmness teaches me that life is not only about running fast. It is also about pausing, thanking, and resting. And that is perhaps the greatest life lesson of all, that strength is not only in doing, but also in stopping, in closing the day with peace. So the night routine of my father is not just a habit, it is a lesson. It teaches us gratitude, peace, and preparation for tomorrow. It reminds us that small actions done daily create a life of discipline and balance. Just as small words create big sentences in English, small habits create a strong character in life. And that is how my father ends his day, calmly, quietly, with gratitude in his heart and peace in his mind. And every night, by following his routine, he gives us a silent but powerful message. End your day well, and your tomorrow will be better. If this video helped you see the power of a daily routine, give it a like right now. And if you are ready to make your own routine for English learning, write in the comments, "I will follow my routine." I will read your comment, reply to you, and cheer you on because I want you to succeed. Remember, small steps every day bring big changes in life, just like my father's daily routine. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more simple and powerful English lessons. Lessons that not only teach you grammar, but also give you discipline, balance, and life skills that will guide you every single day.